What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to your fantasy bench warmers. My name is JJT with Commish Eric. Another week has passed. Very, very quiet on the free agency front this week. Like we said, the KD Kyrie thing hasn't really. No one has pulled the trigger yet on any of those players. But
I think the NBA is on hold until the Divas situation.
everyone's waiting for them, but it seems like with all the rumors that I've been hearing, any trade, especially for KD, seems unlikely to happen at this point.
We talked about it in our Viber group that with Ayton, maybe we're gonna be talking about Ayton later on, right? DeAndre Ayton, that he's now back with Phoenix with all those things. With him gone, the KD to Phoenix scenario is a little tough. No, it's a little tough. And KD said he wants Phoenix and Miami. Miami doesn't have draft picks as of now, so it's gonna take some time before they, get the needed draft picks to get KD. So basically, since Scotty Barnes is not negotiable for Toronto, it's down to one team, Golden State. It's down to Golden State.
I was saying they have the pieces to build around the KD deal. Or I think we can't count out the possibility of maybe a 3-team trade. I mean, it's not going to be a one-on-one trade. Maybe a third team comes up there. But yeah, I was also telling my friend about
in the KD deal, possibly, but I would think the Kyrie deal might be a 3-team trade. But the KD one might be one-on-one, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, Golden State being... Are there rumors about Golden State wanting KD?
A lot. Yeah, there are a lot of rumors about Golden State and KD. Although some are conflicting. Some at first Steph doesn't want it. Then later on Steph wants it. Ayun.
All right, I'm back. So you were saying Steph, rumors about Golden State.
Yeah, some say Steph wants it. Some say Steph doesn't want it. It's up to you what you think is correct. Some are reputable or known reporters like Rick Boucher and Chris Bouchard. I don't know if you believe these guys, but yeah, they said that there's been, Golden State is thinking about it. Of course, it's not an easy decision since they have a championship core. They have to basically give up Poole. They have to give up Kuminga, I think, and maybe Wiseman plus draft picks to get.
They're gonna give up their future, pretty much, and that's the thing that's going to take for them to be acquiring KD, because Brooklyn is asking for a lot.
Yes, of course. I mean,
which they should, right?
Yes.
After seeing the Gobert trade, where Utah got 5 first-round picks.
Yep.
So
5 first-round picks.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brooklyn wants something like that plus an all-star or two. The Minnesota thing, I'm not sure if it was true, but they were asking for pretty much the whole Minnesota. I mean, the stars of Minnesota, asking them to go from a contender to a tanking team, asking for Cat, I think, and
Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Yes. But there's another rumor with the Pelicans that they just asked for Ingram, Larry Nance, and draft picks, and reportedly the Pelicans declined. So again, I don't know, because if it's just Nance, Ingram, and draft picks, I would have accepted that. But we don't know if it's accurate or not, but that's what's being floated out there. Just for a little comparison, the Donovan Mitchell supposed trade to New York, 6 draft picks. Utah wants 6 first-round picks from New York for Donovan Mitchell. So
plus, I think that's another. I don't think New York would accept that, considering that they're asking for a lot of young stars as well, the young upcoming
Yes. Yeah.
potential stars like Quickly, Toppin. These are the future of New York.
Grimes. They like
And
Quentin
Grimes.
Grimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot plus the 6 picks. I mean, Minnesota for Gobert gave, other than Vanderbilt, I think they didn't give too much.
They
Uh,
gave well, yeah, basically like Pat Bev, Beasley, but they gave up 2 first round picks, like their first
yeah,
round pick last year and their first round pick this year, plus 5 future first round picks. So that's like 7. That's like 7 first round picks in essence, right?
yeah,
So
but I mean the other deals you're talking about, like the Donovan Mitchell rumors, the KD rumors, you're really getting the future future of the team, right? In Minnesota, you got the future, but they have some young players still left.
yeah,
Like they have
yes.
the Jaden McDaniels, right? And Anthony Edwards. So these are young players as well. So it's let's see what happens. But the things that
But
has happened, yeah,
just to make it completed in the fantasy setting, if the Utah seems to be rebuilding, they want to rebuild at least. I think that New York deal would
I think
happen.
that's what Brian Windhorst was implying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
in his
happening in Utah, right?
yeah, it's a Danny
What's happening?
Ainge move.
Yeah, I think Danny Ainge wants to out do Sam Presti, obviously, with just two moves, Gobert and Mitchell. If he can get 10 to 11 first round picks in the future, I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. But fantasy wise, that's a team we have to consider. Just giving a tip out there, aside from Indiana, San Antonio, I think Utah is the third team that I'll be very, very interested in, and very, very will monitor them very, very closely. If
yeah.
quickly Grimes and Toppin goes to to Utah, whoa, that's gonna be big game changer in fantasy.
Yeah, let's see. We'll look more into that when we talk about the depth chart, and of course, if the trade happens. Let's talk about some moves we haven't really talked much about from the fantasy perspective. There were not a lot, but Jeremy Grant went to Portland. Um, we haven't really talked about him. What are your thoughts about Jeremy Grant?
Yeah, I think the value of Jeremy Grant did not really change a lot, in my opinion. In Detroit, yes, it's a tanking team. Portland, maybe a better team, a team that wants to contend. But looking at the depth chart of Portland, I think it's clear that Jeremy Grant, who started power forward, he will probably play with Josh Hart. They don't have a player like Jeremy Grant. They have Brendan Watford and all those young Keon Johnson and young players who, with Dame Lillard there, they contend. So Jeremy Grant will get minutes. So I think it's a lateral move, fantasy wise, for Jeremy Grant. Not up, not down, but just steady. But the good thing is they want to contend. So hopefully he won't get rested,
Yeah,
like last year. Yeah. So he's okay in Portland, in my opinion.
like 2 years already. I mean, Jeremy Grant has
Yeah.
been rested for pretty much 2 years. Didn't really finish much of the season.
I know Jeremy Grant's your favorite.
No, not
I know
anymore. Not anymore.
I know I know you always
No,
you're part of your
I
teams.
got him at a good time. When was that? First year? Yeah,
Yeah,
first year with
I remember
Detroit,
that. Yeah.
2 years
Yeah.
ago. That's it. And he pretty much rested at the end of the season, so really not really a good return as well. But good
But
early return, I guess.
but this year I think he's someone to watch out for.
Yeah.
People might have forgotten about him, but Jeremy Grant would have a bounce back this year, I think, in Portland.
Yeah. Malcolm Brogdon goes to the Boston Celtics. Many were talking about the Celtics needing a steadier point guard after the finals, steadier option than Marcus Smart. Now they got one, and they acted quickly. Got Malcolm Brogdon. So what's your over under for a Malcolm Brogdon season?
I'll put it at 60. I'll put it at 60. I think it's right there, 60 games. The good thing about this, talking about Brogdon right now, I think 1 month since the deal. I think it's been almost a month,
Yeah.
or maybe 3 weeks. We know much more about what their plans is with Brogdon. They're gonna put him on the bench. They're gonna make him come off the bench. Brad Stevens said they're gonna make him a sixth man or something. So uh, that might help him injury wise, right?
Yeah.
He might get lesser minutes and all those things. But fantasy wise, that's not really something we want to hear. So I don't know about you, but I'm staying away for now for Brogdon.
Staying away forever for Brogdon.
Where do you feel like you would be comfortable? I mean, what do you see with Brogdon in Boston? What do you see? The stats and everything.
Well, maybe 12, 13 points per game. Or
Sorry, I didn't get it.
maybe 12, 13 points per game.
Okay.
I think 90s to past 100. I think he'll be overdrafted, but I think 90s to up beyond 100.
I think he'll land there rankings wise. I think he'll land there in the draft wise. I mean, that's where he will be picked because people will know, of course, that he's gonna come off the bench. And Boston is deeper than Indiana, so I think he'll land in the 90s to 100. But
Yeah.
I'll not even get him there. I just don't trust him anymore.
120.
No, 110 maybe. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go for it. 110. 110.
All right. The biggest news actually this week was DeAndre Ayton to resigning with Phoenix. Many are saying that this could be a problem for Phoenix because Ayton might not be happy that they matched and so on and so forth. So what do you see? Ayton's faded during the playoffs actually. It wasn't
Yeah,
a
that's true.
it wasn't a good year to be honest for Ayton last year, fantasy wise.
Yes, not what we expected. He was picked 30 something, right? In the
Yeah.
30s. I think if not for the for a stretch where he was good, he finished maybe in the 40s or the 50s even. So not a value pick. I think yes, it's gonna be problem in real basketball terms because of the how this contract thing went. But fantasy wise, I think he will be what he was last year. He will be what he was.
But he
So
won't be
in the
drafted.
50s maybe, I
Yeah.
think that I'll be comfortable picking him there.
Yeah. So 50 should be fine. Not as actually I'm not as confident picking him this after last season, but yeah, maybe 50s or early 60s would be okay for Ethan because nothing has changed for Phoenix, right? All right, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back with crappy internet now. I'm using my data. Let's see how this goes. All right, we were talking about Eton. Like I said, I wasn't as comfortable getting him this year, although 50 to 60 might be okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see who else moves up, of course, from there.
I think I think the big guys who struggled last year, I would put Isaiah Stewart there, DeAndre Ayton. These guys have a chance to bounce back. Stewart, people will think about, of course, the rookie Jalen Duren, how it affects him. But what I see from him taking outside shots, that's a gonna be a big help. And I think it's gonna be underdrafted because of what happened last year. He'll probably go to the hundreds, and I think that's a good deal for him. And then Ayton, as you said, people will feel like, how will he react? How will he behave? Aiton's relatively been a good citizen, a good character player. I don't think he has a Ben Simmons in him or a Kyrie Irving in him. He's gonna play. He's gonna go 14 points, 10 rebounds, one block. The usual until January 15. He knows until January 15 when he can be traded. He can just ask for a trade, or in the trade deadline, something might come up. By that time, I think he'll not be in Phoenix. When wherever he goes, it's gonna be good for him because he's gonna be featured more. So I like Aiton. I think he's gonna be underdrafted also.
One player's fantasy value that was saved was Myles Turner. On the other side, well, I would think pretty much if Phoenix did not match the offer, they'll probably trade Myles Turner somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So now that Myles Turner is another problematic player fantasy wise. I mean, we talked about Brogdon. Myles Turner is another guy. How do you see him this year?
It's
He
about
is.
health.
Yeah, I know it's about health, but every year has been about health. It's about him.
Yeah, and with him, I can't answer it correctly. I can't say I'm going to be correct, but because health issues, you never know about injuries. If he doesn't get injured or just plays 65 to 70 games, he's gonna smash. He's gonna smash just for the blocks. We know that. But if he gets to 40 and then gets a season-ending injury, it's gonna be a problem. So if his draft range is late second round, early third, or maybe in the 30s, even fourth, but he will land there. I think he will land there
That's
because
too high.
last year he was picked at the 20s.
Coming off an injury.
He's come off an injury for the past how many
You're right.
years?
You're right there.
And not just injury. I mean, the past years he started off with 4 blocks, 3 blocks, and then in the end he faded before getting injured. He already faded. So people don't care. I mean, they remember the blocks. They remember what he can do, 3-pointers. So I think he'll be picked 30, maybe 30 to 35 to 37, around those range. Maybe early third to maybe late, around third round. I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on that draft.
And there could be a lot more players there in that range. I think some centers, if you need some centers, I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of centers moving up there. Players like Jarrett Allen, for example, might move up. Evan Mobley, I think, has center eligibility, will move up. Those guys and players who perform well last season will definitely. Robert Williams is still there. Is probably going to be there even with some knee issues, right? Yeah, there's going to be some players there available as well. One player that could be available right there, Zion Williamson, who also signed the max contract. Zion, we'll probably talk a lot of Zion this season, especially before the fantasy season starts. Your take on Zion? It looks like Larry Nance said he looks like he's healthy already. I heard the Road Trippin' podcast with guesting that he had with Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. He said Zion's look good.
I think you saw. I think you saw his pictures, right? The ripped pictures. He's really in shape. He's really in shape. And he's been playing against young players, 6th graders or 7th graders, dominating.
Yeah, that I saw.
So, yeah, he's healthy. He's healthy right now. And remember, one thing about Zion, when he was healthy a year, 2 seasons ago, he was really good. He was really good. I mean, the field goal, just the field goal effect of Zion is big. He's like 60-something percent.
Yeah, he can easily win you the field goal.
Yes. Now it depends again. I'm not saying I'm not gonna pick Zion or I'm gonna pick Zion. Where does he land? What kind of league do you play in? Do you play in leagues where people gamble, or do you play in a safer kind of league? So that depends on all of those things. But I think Zion will play 60 games, same as Brogdon. I mean, the question is who plays more, Zion or AD? I think that would be a better question, right? Zion or AD? But I think Zion will eventually play more than AD this year. I think so.
Yeah. And let's segue to AD. AD is another guy who's been. We just saw a video of him shooting 3-pointers, working out after saying that he hasn't really touched a basketball for 2 months or how many months that is. Anthony Davis, another problematic player, injury-wise. First rounder.
No. Is he your
So
first
you
rounder?
no. I was just asking. I mean, he's dropped a lot. I mean, from top 3. Last year we had some
Where
high
was he last
hopes.
year? Where was he last year?
Late
Draft
first
wise.
round.
Draft wise.
Late first round, right? I mean draft wise, late first
Yeah.
round.
I think he actually ended in the early second at some drafts, right? Right.
Yeah,
14,
but mostly I
14,
think
15.
in a standard 12 team. But if you're talking about 14 team league, he's right there, 12, 13, 14, and some 11 maybe.
Well, I'll answer that with something here. Like we talked about Myles Turner. We talked about now AD Zion. We talked about Brogdon. We all know injuries are the problem with these guys. It's okay to pick them at the right range, but just pick one of them. No matter how much value the others are, I'll not be comfortable picking like a Zion AD combo. Let's say, maybe you got AD. Let's say in the second round at 18 or 19, you feel like he's a first round guy. I can get him at 18 or 19. That's good. And then Zion falls to, let's say, 40s, and you feel like, yeah, that's cheap. Zion's healthy and picking him at 40. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get value, one of them. Just one of them. And I'm gonna choose one of them, whoever is there. Then just build with safer players around them. I think that's what you should do. AD, we put in our post 62 games. I think you said over.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Jeremy was the only guy there.
Everyone went under. Everyone went under. I know everyone will go under. I'm taking my chances here. I'm going over. I hope he goes over. As a Laker fan, I hope he goes over. So we'll see. We'll see.
You have to prove it though. You have to pick him because you said over. If he's over 62 games, I think he'll be good for you.
if he lands at the right value, we'll get him. Last year we thought that he'll end up top 5, top 6. I mean, he has the potential to end up top 5, top 6 last year. Thinking that he was already value at 11, 12, 13.
He killed us in the Unbox League, in the auction. He was my first rounder there. He was my star, and then he got so many injuries. So I'm not gonna fall for that. He can't be your first rounder. I'm just putting it that way. He can't be this. He can't be the guy you build your team around. He can be the supporting guy, like maybe even the second best or the third best, third round or whatever. That's okay for me. But you can't have him first round AD and then get supporting players around him. That is not a winning fantasy move. So that's a lesson learned. That's a lesson. I don't care if Jeremy feels like he's gonna go over.
Yeah,
Jeremy, I don't know if he's Nostradamus or not, but
don't mind me. I just pick over because I know everyone will pick under, and if he goes over, I'll be that guy that said, I told you, I told every one of you. So that's why I picked over, and I'm gonna post that in our. I created a post-it board of our predictions. We'll keep track of those predictions as the season goes along. Jamal Murray is the last guy we're gonna talk about, I guess. Not really problematic, but coming off an injury, there have been reports that he's gonna start off playing just 20 minutes.
20 minutes. That's what Mike Malone said, 20 minutes. And then he also said that he's not going to play every game. That's what he said. He's not going to come out and play every game. With that news, and it was posted in Roto World and the other sites, he might fall, I don't know, all the way to what? 70? 60? 70?
I mean, coming off an ACL, and he's not even the high potential type of fantasy player. If you think about it, he's not the first round type of player, or the second round, not even a second rounder. If you fall 60,
you think he's gonna fall lower than 70?
He should. Because what's his peak value? Best.
But
Best Jamal Murray.
But
Best
if you
case for
think
Jamal
about it,
Murray.
where was Clay picked last year though? I
Um,
mean, I think around that range,
yeah,
right?
80, 70 to 80, I guess.
I I, I think if Jamal falls to the 70s, you have to pick him. I know Mike Malone said these things, but sometimes these coaches right now they're just gonna undersell, themselves and
Yeah,
their players. Like, he's not yet healthy. We're gonna bring him back slowly, slowly. But when the season comes, I think, yeah, he might not play every game. Maybe no back to backs. I think that's possible, but he's still too good at 70. I think he can. He's probably a top 50 per game if before he got injured, right?
top
So I
50.
think
Yeah,
70 is good though.
yeah. Maybe 70, 80. Just not comfortable. I've learned my lesson from last season. Some of these injured guys, not really as fond of them right now. Especially coming off an injury, it's hard to it's hard to get where a nice value is for them. I think
Mm-hmm.
last season, if there's anyone who really overachieved or at least exceeded the draft value, that's Pascal Siakam. That was the best value pick for an injured player, I guess. I mean, even Clay wasn't a good value pick. Who else are there? Zion obviously isn't. Uh, didn't even play,
But
right?
that goes back to what you were saying, telling our viewers since last season. Depends on the injury. Like
Yeah.
Siakam's injury is the shoulder, so he was, I guess, in better shape, condition wise compared
If
to compared to, let's say, Clay. So maybe Jamal is in that same sense, but Jamal has been out for how long? I think 1.5 years.
1.5 years, yeah.
Yeah, so it's too long already. They've
Too
been
cautious.
too cautious, too cautious. I think he'll be good. I feel he's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. He should be good. I mean, that's if he's the number two player of Denver, that should also ease some load. Do you think his return would affect Jokic?
Uh, I
How?
I think so. I think so. There would be an
But
effect. Michael Port.
does it affect him? Does it affect Jokic in such a way that he could end up lower than being number one?
Are you saying the actual rankings or in the draft?
No, the actual rankings.
Um,
In the draft, obviously, Jokic will go number one. I don't think there's any question about that.
I don't think so. I don't think that it's gonna affect that much. For one, as we know, he's not gonna play back to back, so there would be games without Jamal Murray. We also know that he's gonna start off slow. So in the first month, maybe at that time, Jokic can already pull away rankings wise. And even when Jamal was healthy, Jokic was already at worst number 2 or number 3 before, right? Actually, he was already number 1. But so I don't think it's gonna affect him finishing lower than number 1. But I don't think he's a sure thing at number 1. With Jamal and MPJ there, he's not as sure. I'll put it at, if before I was 101% sure he's ending up at number 1, maybe now let's put it at 80% he's number 1, something like that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Michael Porter Jr., but we'll save that for another episode once we get some news as well on Michael Porter Jr. I think he's gonna start playing already, right? He's gonna be ready.
Yes, I think he's healthy. He's healthy now. He said he's healthy.
All right, so we'll talk more about that in the next episode. All right, guys, that's it. It's gonna be a short episode.
Yeah, we can talk about how about Dallas?
Yeah,
like the
right.
starting 5 of Dallas. Rick Carlisle talked about starting JaVale and Wood together. So that's something, again, as fantasy managers we have to take into account what is effect. Christian Wood, I think I'm gonna ask you. Now that this news came out, what's your take about Wood trade? Good or bad for him?
We talked about this early on. I think it's gonna be good for him, especially playing with Luka. Plus, of course, there's less risk. Uh, Unlike in Houston, where it's like when you pick a player from Houston, they're gonna be tanking. You know that there's a risk of players resting. So there's none of that in Dallas, most likely. Plus, yeah, playing with Luka might be a good thing for him as well. Um,
But the McGee starting at center, do you think you know it's gonna be a big blow to Christian Wood?
uh, Here's my thinking now is that Christian Wood might take a lot more threes now, knowing how Dallas
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
with Luka. So they might do the pick and rolls with JaVale instead of Christian Wood if that's what they're
I
gonna
I
do.
I,
Because
I agree.
JaVale's gonna be a better pick and roll player, right? He's taller,
Yeah,
he's faster. That's his game, the pick and roll game, right? And he's more accurate inside the paint. So most likely they're gonna do that and then let Christian Wood stay in the 3-point line, wait for the pass, and then just take the shot. What, like you said, like what Kristaps' role was before, where I think he wasn't really too happy about, right? Waiting at the 3-point line. That might happen with Christian Wood. And that
yeah.
might be okay because he's not a good free throw shooter. All he has to do now is to be a good, better 3-point shooter. But it's not going to be as nice fantasy wise as when he was in Houston, obviously.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with that. The 3-pointer should go up. The field goal should go down. Free throws, hopefully he doesn't take as much. But my question there is the blocks maybe and the rebounds with McGee there. But we know Javel McGee doesn't play 40 minutes.
Yeah.
He can
Javale
only
plays
play 20.
20, 25 at
My
most. That's a
my my
lot.
issue is not my issue is not just that because there's Maxi Kleber, there's Dwight Powell, there's Davis Bertans. So they have a lot of bigs. So I'm not as high on Wood because of that. Me, he might be overrated. He might be in my overrated list when I give it out before the season. I
Yeah.
think Christian Wood.
Yeah. Let's see. Obviously, he's gonna drop a little bit in the drafts, but we don't know. I mean, people might not consider these things as well, and he'll be picked a little higher just because Luca makes everyone play better.
He
And
I've seen some experts give out their winners and losers, and he's in some winners, some losers. So I think Christian Wood is a big, question mark right now.
yeah,
It's mixed. It's mixed. It's all over the place. Some feel like is a big winner in Dallas with playing with Luca, taking a lot of shots because of Luca's gravity and it's gonna pass to him. Some feel like he's a loser because Luca takes so much usage. And then now this news with JaVale. So it's all over the place. It's all over the place as of now.
yeah. So, but let's see what happens in the. But yeah, the draft wise, I think he'll drop a bit. Not as good as last season's draft
Per
position.
game.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's it. It's very quiet free agency at this point. Pretty much the big names have signed. Well, there wasn't a lot of big names, but yeah, they pretty much signed. So we're just waiting for the KD, Kyrie thing and the Donovan Mitchell thing.
And then maybe the last few guys there are Colin Sexton, maybe some restricted free agents, Sexton, Miles Bridges. Maybe that's another domino
Yeah,
if he gets signed. If he gets signed. And Kemba, there's a rumor that Kemba was gonna be signed by the Lakers, 2 years, 20 million peso a dollar deal. I don't know how true that is, but reportedly, Kemba might be going to LA. So that might be the thing we're gonna talk about in our next
next
episode
episode.
if
All
that
right.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna get closer to the opening of the fantasy season. So we'll just have to wait for that. All right. And exciting. Hopefully we'll have an exciting week in free agency this week. And that's it for today's episode. We'll see you again next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.